It is Tuesday the 27th, and I am going to be doing a general reading today. I actually have to start getting prepared for this hurricane. I keep wanting to call it a tornado for some reason in my head. Hopefully there's not going to be too many tornadoes spun off from this, but there more than likely will be. So I've been picking up on some energies this past week that I feel are going to be coming up for this upcoming week. And so, like I said, if you're in North America or you're in the United States, you're aware on the East Coast that there's a hurricane coming. And if you're on the West Coast, it feels as if there's earthquakes on the way. And so what I'm seeing in my mind is this collision of energies towards the center of the United States. And so obviously this is specific to those of you in America, but I'm being shown how looking at how the energy affects North America and how that is correlated to the entire world and then beyond, like into the universe, like how the energies colliding and interacting with each other and how those vibrations affect everyone, like how interconnected everything is. And so that's the visualization that they're showing me is, well, I drank all my tea, but it's kind of like these two waves and how they are coming from two different areas and then they collide in the center and then they have to disperse. And it's not chaos because there is order to the way that it disperses, but I think if you weren't really understanding the way that the energies connect, then it would look from the outsider's point of view that it's disorderly, right? And so I'm being shown to really reconnect with those elements, and I'm even seeing like the word miracle, like miraculous energies or changes, something like that. Like there's some sort of like, basically what's happening is as that energy from the West Coast and the East Coast collide in the center of the United States, it has to disperse back out. And doing that is, the center is going to cause some sort of, I don't know, it's like some weird of, like, it looks different. Like there's just like mixtures of things. And the way that I could explain this is if it was hailing and tornadoes and snowing, flooding, like just, I mean, that sounds really scary. It doesn't feel that way. Maybe this is just like a symbol for that, but basically they're showing me it dispersing and people going from this place of indifference, like this, and I'm saying this as like this is like a worldly example of what's happening in the next week for us, like as a collective, is that we're going from a place of where something in our lives we feel indifferent about, and it's almost like the devil energy of being entrapped by this feeling. It's this entrapment of indifference, and then being released from that. It's like being released from those, it's an addiction, right? Like when you think about the devil card, you think about these lower level thinkings, and being indifferent to things can, depending on the situation, be lower level vibration, right? It's a lower frequency depending on what the circumstances. So those parts of us that are feeling like, I'm seeing like stagnant, stale energy, or it's like the blood flow within our bodies, it's moving in a more healthy manner. It's like we're really getting that circulation going in all these parts of us that need to be cleansed, right? So it's a cleansing of energies. It's a cleansing of, I'm seeing like with the world, or not the world, but like the United States, it's like, it's kind of like when you have clutter, like too much of something and then it's being cleaned out. So I mean, that might be indicative of like destabilization of different buildings because of these natural disasters, and how you can look at that as is destroying things that would not be able to withstand it, so that it could be rebuilt into something more efficient, something like that, and how that's related to what we are going through collectively. I'm seeing the word zen, like it's like we're becoming more zen. So we have the Knight of Swords, and this specifically brought me to my nightmares, which I was actually thinking about probably like 20-30 minutes before I started meditating for recording for you guys. And so I've been having nightmares for the past week, a different nightmare every night. And at first I was thinking that it was just nothing related to anything. It was just like personal, like one specific nightmare that I had. And you'll see basically what I'm saying is that it was actually relating to things that were happening to me. And at first I didn't really think anything of it. It could have potentially been a coincidence, but the fact that it repeatedly kept happening, and the first time that I realized association, I just immediately knew that it was not a coincidence. I just felt it. But I had a dream that one of my birds escaped. And the bird, it was my friend. I wanted to chase after the bird, but I was waiting for my friend. And so my friend who appeared in the dream, for some reason, I was waiting for them to like take control of the situation, right? And so they were taking their time, and I'm like, we need to go, like I have to find my bird. So we're running around. Finally I get them out the door, and I'm the one that's like calling the shots. I'm like, we need to go here, we need to do that, we need to talk to people, like let's figure it out. I need to find my bird, this is not safe. And we come across a group of people, and these group of people are like, oh, we actually saw a bird in this nest over there, this tree over there. And I run over there, and it's this falcon. It's a falcon nest, and they're feeding a squirrel to the falcons, thankfully. So I'm like, my bird's not there. Long story short, I never got my bird back. And I'm kind of glossing over the details of my dream, but essentially I attributed that to, well, I've been wanting to trim my bird's wings, and I've been putting it off. So maybe that was just like this fear I had. Well, turns out the next day my friend ended up texting me, and my friend texted me this picture of a bunny rabbit in the middle of someone's yard. I couldn't tell it was in the yard, it was under this big tree or whatever. And well, actually it was the one of the trees that looked like the tree in my dream. It was an oak tree, and with long branches, and you could tell that this was not a wild bunny rabbit. I'm like, you have to get this rabbit, it's obviously someone's pet, it's not going to be able to survive. Same story as what I was saying about my rabbit. And my friend's like, I can't go in someone's yard and take their rabbit. I'm like, there's no way that is someone's pet that they're just like letting run loose. I wasn't aware until I did my research that people actually do that with their bunny rabbits. They just let them free range, like, and it runs into the streets or whatever. But basically, my friend put it off for 2 days. I was begging them to go check. I'm like, just go back and check. And they came up and talked to someone, like, it's the same as my dream. Like, we have to like figure out if that's someone's rabbit, so we can at least like know that whether it's wild or not, right? Like, or loose, and then we can try and get it, find its owner, whatever, or just keep it. I guess I would probably just end up keeping it if no one turned up for the rabbit. But basically, they found one of the neighbors. So they finally went back. They saw the rabbit again. They talked to one of the neighbors, and the neighbor had told them that yes, the bunny rabbit had escaped. However, no one could catch the rabbit. So they just leave the rabbit hutch open, hoping, I guess, that it'll jump back in, or in case it wants to go in for safety. So I didn't end up getting the rabbit. My friend did try and chase after it for me, but just left it alone. But at least I know the whole story, the situation, even though it's unfortunate for them. So I'm bringing that up because It feels like if you've been having dreams, whether they're nightmares or not, to pay attention to that, to see if there's any sort of association with that. Are you connecting to energies from beyond? Like, are you connecting to people who have passed away that are giving you messages of love, of wisdom, of care, of wanting to work with you, wanting to give back their love towards you, or protection or warning? What is it that you are getting told through your intuition in your dream state, right? Also, I had another nightmare last night. I don't remember the details at all. I just know that I did not sleep well last night. But it feels, again, like there's this balancing of energies, and it feels more collective. Like that, it's not a personal thing that's going to happen to me. It feels like the collective energy. Like here, this comes out, the temperance, and so that's what I feel. It's like this balancing of energies, this relaxing of energies, because it's through some sort of moment, like it's an exciting moment, is going to create, some sort of harmony. It feels like some sort of harmony. It's like realizing that we can ask for help, or realizing that we have received help, something like that, or like the people around us are going to be helping, or like just working better with people, like connecting better with people, having the shared experiences as people that brings us more unified with everyone. Or if there's going to be some sort of like okay, so you know how Jupiter, it was trending and all this, and people were going out taking pictures of Jupiter and looking at it through binoculars or telescopes. It's something like that is kind of what I'm seeing, where it's something that we can all be excited about for different reasons, and that we can connect with people in a way that we haven't been connecting before. And it's something beyond us, right? And unique and special. And that's what I'm saying, is there's this connecting energy. It's not a connecting energy, it's like this otherworldly energy that is making us more awakened and aware of us being more connected, of us not being, it's like, yes, we're separate in our individual desires, needs, experiences, and even just like our spirit itself. Like, we are all very different, but we collectively work together in unison, and how beautiful that is. And it's kind of like, once again, they're showing me the energies and how it's colliding together, and relating it to that, of how it's showing me how there's a reason for everything, basically. It's like nothing is ever out of purpose, is the word I'm getting. Nothing is ever out of purpose. So we have the Four of Cups, and I feel like this is us finally accepting that cup. Like, you being like, okay, you know what? Like, I didn't feel the time was appropriate for me. I didn't feel like I wasn't ready at that time. It wasn't that I didn't want it. It was just that I was really like preoccupied. Like, my mind was preoccupied. It feels like preoccupied with maybe like not necessarily negative energies, but more of competitive energies, or feeling like it's like you against the world, or you against a certain group, or you against, or people against you. It doesn't even have to be, it's the same thing, but it feels more of like energies against you. Or just like circumstances that were kind of slowing your pace or slowing you down. And it's a release of that. It's finally accepting help, where it's like a helping hand, a helping thought that comes to you in your imagination. It's like this burst of inspiration, this burst of energy, like whatever it is that fits your circumstance, that you've been like, that would boost you in whatever it is going to come through. And at that time, during this development of your spirit, the development of your soul, with whatever this circumstance is that it doesn't necessarily have to be frustrating. It just feels like a dragging of energy, like this thing that's dragging you along. And there's this acknowledgement that you weren't necessarily ready. Like you had to be able to focus on that energy of feeling dragged along for whatever reason that was, so that when you receive help, you can, again, it's this breaking from indifference, this breaking from like, it's just like that relief, you know, it's like you're jumping into a pond and like bursting from the surface of the water for that moment in time when you burst right through, and how exciting that is, right? It's just like this exciting energy. I think it's more of like bringing you into this state of when it happens that you accept this next moment is going to feel that much more enriching and more present in that moment. You know, it's like really, really, really being able to appreciate it in a way that it wouldn't have felt the same if you just kept receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving, and not really getting a break in some ways. It's like not, I know you know what I'm saying. So we have the Eight of Pentacles reversed, we have the Devil reversed, and we have the Ten of Wands. I don't know how that came out. I know how the Eight of Pentacles reversed, but I don't know how this came out, and this is the way that I'm seeing it. Not feels more appropriate to me. With the Ten of Wands, the release of this devil energy, the release of everything that I was saying at the very beginning, and the Eight of Pentacles, where it's like hyper focused on this one situation, that it's like it's weighing so heavily because you're focusing so much on it, because it's been such a hallmark in your experience thus far. And then it finally paying off. You finally like finishing this one piece, this one pentacle, tacking it to this tree and stepping up, being like, I'm done. What's next? Let me look around. Wow, it's a beautiful day. I didn't realize it was so gorgeous out here. Oh, there's my neighbor walking across their pond. Let me go, well, not across their pond, but beside their pond. Let me go talk to them, you know? It's like, wow, I accomplished this. I persevered through this. I got through this. Let me take a break. It's a well-deserved break. You know, that's what I'm saying for you. The Six of Pentacles, it's that acceptance of help. It's that recognition of your hard work. It's that Ten of Cups at the bottom. Feeling like the rainbow. You're feeling like the rainbow. Like after the storm. You know, it kind of brings me to the hurricane that's coming, Hurricane Ian, and seeing how it's like battering the storm. You get everything prepared. You put all the boards up. You stock up on things that you need to stock up. You call your friends and family or your co-workers or whomever, see if they need anything. You know, go around, see what needs to be done for yourself or other people. You evacuate, you know, get everything prepared. And then you come back and, you know, after everything's just kind of been torn through from the storm, and being like, all right, it's actually so beautiful after hurricanes. It's so beautiful and so peaceful, but also very destructive. So kind of appropriate in some ways. And so we have the Queen of Wands. There's this feeling of not, and okay, so the Seven of Cups for me is highlighting for you, saying it's an end to daydreaming. It's an end to kind of keeping your options open, and it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily see or look to me like you kept your options open because you wanted to. It's almost out of obligation, or like, well, I don't really know, like I can anticipate, or I can desire, I can work for this particular thing, or think about this particular person or thing, and yet it's not guaranteed fully for me. So I can work towards it, but I need to be receptive to other things, right? I need to, it's like, because the way that I'm seeing it, that's why I even mentioned a person. I haven't mentioned a person yet, is because it looks like this severing. It kind of looks like this jagged, like an energy cord, and it's jagged, like kind of has little cuts. You know, it reminds me of a spaghetti noodle and how they have these little micro cuts in it, you know, to like pick up the sauce. And that's kind of what it looks like to me, is these little cuts. And these little cuts in it are like severing of the energy, like separation. So it's like, whether this is a particular person or if I'm seeing it as your energy and like your hopes and dreams of like keeping that available, keeping that open, only because you have this specific energy cord that you're connecting to what it is that you truly desire, or how you feel connected to the world, or how you perceive the world, or how you feel your space is in the world, and how to take up the space in this world, and then retracting that energy, retracting that vision, retracting that desire, not fully, but kind of giving your energy elsewhere in the event that it's like, I don't want to fully keep all my eggs in this one basket because I don't know how this is going to turn out. You know, I'm going to put all my effort towards it, but I have to keep in the back of my mind other options, right? And so it feels like once you receive this, it's going to feel exhilarating and exciting, but there's that back of the mind that still has to catch up. It still has to catch up to the fact that it's actually here. It has been delivered for you. And it's this feeling of like, did I deserve this? Do I deserve this? Am I ready? Am I prepared? Is it finally here? It's kind of like her harvesting this sunflower and being like, did I harvest it at the right time? Am I positive about this? I've been waiting all season for this to bloom. And yet, did I do it too early? Is it okay that I got it now? Is there enough left for the other finches so that they can feast on the sunflower seeds? Like, all of these questions that come in the back of your mind, because it's like working towards something and becoming so familiar with working towards something, or in the situation that you're in and feeling that familiarity, and then it's suddenly changing, and then realizing, okay, so now my mindset has to change. Now my goals have to change. Now my desires, they don't necessarily, they just have to be adjusted. Like, the desires don't necessarily have to be adjusted, but the fact that it's here, it's like, oh wow. A big oh wow. I'm seeing the Ten of Pentacles here. So we have Judgment, Two of Swords, High Priestess. And we have the Ace of Pentacles, Eight of Cups, the Moon reversed, King of Swords. And so, and I'm being drawn, this kind of looks like rain in the background of the King of Swords. And so what I'm seeing here is slow and steady adjustments. That's the advice coming forward for you guys, is slow and steady adjustments. There's this feeling of like, almost, it feels this temptation possibly to not necessarily self-sabotage. They're not saying like, don't self-sabotage. Well, obviously don't, but it's more of like, don't feel unworthy, or don't second guess too many times. Like, just kind of relax and and there's almost this grieving process. It's like, I've worked so hard, and then almost feeling like the expectation might not meet what it is that you desire. Like, all these fears and concerns start seeping in little by little, and so it's saying to avoid that. Take your time to really appreciate where you are and how you got to the place that you are, and also the cleansing energy that's coming through. Because as we talked about with like the hurricanes and the earthquakes and the collision in the center of the United States, just as that's going to occur, it's going to feel uncomfortable, right? It's like that feeling of indifference before the hurricane came, the feeling of indifference before the earthquakes on the West Coast come. It's like, well, the hurricane hasn't come to the East Coast yet. So before these occur, It's saying, okay, so you were comfortable in your situation, you were comfortable in your life, you're just kind of going about without really considering those things, but knowing, like if you're living on those areas, it's like knowing that that's a possibility. So you always have that in the back of your mind, right? In the way that you're living your life and conducting your life and everything. And so now that it's coming, then you start preparing. There's only so much that you can do to prepare yourself for these natural disasters. And as it occurs, it can potentially be destructive or seemingly look destructive. It can be devastating, seemingly devastating. And yet there's always a rainbow to that situation, right? Like saying, maybe now you can adjust where you want to live, or you can adjust how you prepare. All of these different things that are actually beneficial to you because you've expanded your awareness, you've expanded your preparation or your skill or your knowledge that you can use for your own benefit, and also spread this information to other people that may not have been aware, right? Or maybe you can look at the positives too of like you preparing and helping your neighbors, your elderly neighbors or disabled neighbors or whatever, you know, something like that, right? Something really beautiful in the tragedy of hurricanes specifically, and earthquakes too, because I've experienced some earthquakes before as well, and tornadoes. Well, one tornado, and it wasn't that bad, but is that the sense of community that comes together afterwards. And really like that relief, that feeling of relief that you receive from outside assistance, or like being able to give relief to others and getting to know people and having that shared experience. Like there is something very uniting about that and something very beautiful about that, and it kind of brings you into the present moment. And even afterwards, it's something that you can connect with people about, or you can connect that in a way that like for me personally, I know the benefits of like helping people, like what a relief it feels like to have that. And so now I can do my part in doing that as well for people. And so that's what I'm seeing here is like take your time and also understand these levels of how this might occur for you, of feeling like that tension that occurs right before the breakthrough, right? And after that breakthrough, it's like this another level to your life. It's a leveling up of your life, and then you reestablishing yourself at this next level and realizing that things have changed. Things have had to have been readjusted in your life, right? Like that, like the natural storm within you has occurred, and there's no like you would be foolish to rebuild in the exact same way instead of building off of those experiences, right? And that prepares you for something even greater, prepares you for something even more, so that these smaller things, if they ever came back again into your life, recycled through in your life, then you can handle it in a more easier fashion because you have that life experience and knowing that you are worthy. It's mostly knowing that you are worthy and knowing that as your ultimate truth, right? With the Ace of Swords here, it's like the truth, the absolute truth, the truth from the Most High, from God, being like, you are deserving of this beauty. You are deserving of having to walk away from these lower vibrational thoughts of feeling like you didn't get the help that you needed, or you needed to prepare for things because you... The reason why I'm saying prepare for things is because it's like feeling like you had to take the brunt of things. Again, it's that energy of like people against you, or energies against you, like something outside of you slowing you down, and there's just no more of that. It's this harmony of like it built character. Basically, it's building your character, and it's showing you like what you're capable of. You know, it's like, you got this. You're ready for this next level. Like, it's like the universe has told you in the past and up until very recently, like, show me what you're made of, and you absolutely did, and they're like, good job, I knew you could this whole time, you know, like, let's go, let's get up, like, you earned your right here, let's keep going, you know. So that's what I see for you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. And we have the World at the bottom of the card. I mean, the bottom of the deck. Well, actually, I split it. And the Tower just spilled out. So I do want to just emphasize that this is the same thing as, like, the Tower is falling for you, or has fallen for you if you have already experienced this, and this is just verifying for you. And here you are. You've rebuilt this new world for yourself, within yourself and amongst everyone else, of really connecting that inner power, right, and knowledge that you have, and really living your purpose, and shedding all of these. It's kind of like karmic energy in a way, right? Like these ties towards you, these energetic ties towards you that felt overwhelming, and now you're at the top. You are the visionary and the empress and the conductor and the emperor of your life. You are living in a more harmonious, balanced, and vibrant, exciting world for you. So that's what I see. Bye.